So we talk about the decline in the high street, and we treat it as a boxing match between the two. We say that the online is stealing sales from the high street. And this dialogue, or this fight between the high street and online, it helps the demise of the high street. But in many ways, as digital marketeers, we could be using data to actually enhance the high street and offer better alternatives for our customers. We cater to our core audience online and encourage them to reach a goal, but we end up ignoring most of the people who want to engage or buy from us. So many retailers, from a business perspective, are actually struggling with online to some extent. They're dealing with very high and increasing return rates of products. One of our customers has a 35% return rate for products, and that's not because the products are bad. They're a very well-known and established brand. It's because customers are now getting into the habit, to a greater and greater extent, of getting products online, buying products and sending them back if they're not perfect in every way. Delivery slots are a real issue for the online industry. It's been described as the Achilles heel of online shopping, and we all know the frustrations that late delivery people can provide us with. So actually, when you look at this bottom graph here, there are lots of reasons why customers actually want to purchase in-store rather than online. And those reasons tend to be customer-based or customer service orientated. So where customers want to easily make a return, or know exactly what they're buying, or establish a relationship with the merchant, have their questions answered, or better presented merchandise, they will tend to go to the high street or an outlet. So there is still a place for retail stores, and we need to take a more customer-centric approach to enable customers to better interact with stores online. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk you through two tools specifically that will enable you to do that. How many of you guys have heard of Walkbase? None? Okay, I'm glad. And King of Shops? Okay, these are two relatively new tools on the market which may well be of interest to you guys. But ultimately, what both of these tools do is they bridge the gap between online and offline, and they help provide data to stores. So Walkbase is shopper-centric. It's a tool which can evaluate shopper movements. And we actually locate the shopper using their mobile phone, which I'll go into slightly more detail in a sec. But ultimately, we can use Walkbase to evaluate the impact of media campaigns on driving traffic to local stores. But it's also a platform that enables store to monitor consumer behaviour in-store. Whereas King of Shops is web-centric. And what I mean by that is the web is the starting point for the tool. So King of Shops encourages online users to visit and interact with stores, and can help turn web visits into retail visits, or can reinforce a premier service, and enables retailers to maximise efficiencies from existing resources. So Walkbase, what does it do? Basically, when you walk around with your mobile phone, it's pinging and looking for routers all the time if it's enabled for Wi-Fi. And all we do is we put a router in every store in its simplest form. So as soon as somebody walks into the store, they'll be able to be tracked via their mobile phone, or the router will track the mobile phone. So what this enables us to do is actually capture real-time analytics showing customer behaviour. And the data shows retailers how to engage with customers more efficiently. If you had a large store, if you were a big department store, as the user moves through the store, they can be tracked from department to department to department. Once again, the data is pulled into an analytics format. So the key benefits of this is that it enables us to understand shopper behaviour. It enables us to look at trends, and we can work out whether a shopper is a new shopper or is somebody who has been to the store many times before. And we can also analyse dwell times in store. It also gives us the opportunity to do funnel analysis and performance optimisation. If you have multiple stores in different regional locations, you can gauge and benchmark store performance. You can measure your door swings or footfall. You can measure the people, depending on how you configure the router, to actually as they walk by the store, and then see if they come in the store. So in a sense, it's a door counter. And once again, with that data, you could measure the impact of offers that you're running in the window displays, work out how the consumer, how the shopper is interacting with your store. And finally, the other thing that we can do is, because we're driving traffic through to stores, we can measure our marketing performance. So if you had a localized mobile campaign, or if you were advertising regionally, whether on or offline, you can measure the impact of that performance as long as you've benchmarked previously. So, what are the benefits online? There's the potential for a real-time personalised service, and this is taking the data one step further. You know, what we were looking at before was when the mobile was passively tracking the user, but there's also the opportunity for the user or the phone to be sent a message and enable the end user to opt in to receiving regular messages or receiving updates and developing a relationship with that store. And so, you know, that has obvious connotations. I think what was quite interesting is we were talking to Wembley Stadium, and the idea there was that actually they would, I don't know if many of you guys have been to Wembley Stadium, but they have lots of bar outlets or concessions around the stadium. And what they find is when they run an event, some of those outlets are ridiculously busy with massive queues and others are not. So what this would enable us to do is actually run offers in real time, measuring where users are and directing them to other bars within the building that have more capacity, so that people can be, for instance, if you were at a football match, served your hot dog or served your beers quicker than you would be otherwise. So that's crowd management using people's mobile phones. But within places like the House of Fraser, you could use it to measure how people, where they're going within the store, and send them messages to give them offers in related departments. So using Walkbase, ultimately what we're doing is we're applying online methodologies to offline. Nobody else is really doing this. The data isn't really out there, you know. You're certainly not going to get it from the Office of National Statistics. You're certainly not going to get it looking at your web traffic. This is something that enables you to take data from how shoppers are actually behaving. And so you can learn about your customers in the same way as you would online. And you could segment the data. You would measure and monitor and react with offers where needed, or change window displays where needed. Ultimately, and you know, I know we all know this maxim from Google, but it's about testing and testing and testing again. So that's one way in which Walkbase could be used. The other thing that we can delve into to a slightly greater extent is marketing campaigns. So, you know, there are two ways we can look at this. On its simplest level, if somebody is running a local campaign within a town, traffic has increased to their store, they can benchmark that against the next campaign that they run to work out which campaign worked best for them. But if you take it a step further than that and you encourage customers to actually opt in using Walkbase, then you get the opportunity to market back to them at regular intervals. And because Walkbase enables you to measure new visits and recurring visits, once again you get further insights in terms of the performance of the campaign. So that's Walkbase, or that's certainly how it works. I'll just give you a very quick overview of the reporting on Walkbase. Here you can see new visits, recurring visits. This is just standard reporting, but you can pull in your own measures as well if you like, so you can tailor the reports to whatever metric that you want to see. You can then split the data according to hour, day or week and compare visitor trends. I mentioned about monitoring dwell times by department. And you can compare that to historical data and do a period-by-period comparison. So ultimately, to summarise, Walkbase enables you to collect data against KPIs which you've established beforehand, which are shopper-centric. Now what we're going to look at is we're going to look at a tool which is more web-centric, which enables you to push existing traffic into stores where appropriate. Now, in its simplest form, King of Shops is a calendar, nothing more and nothing less. But there's a great deal more to it. This particular example, or the partial screenshot that you've got there, was run on the Penhaligon's website. I don't know if you know Penhaligon's. Basically, they sell perfume, high-end perfume. But from a user's perspective, what you would actually do is you would land on, let's say, a boutique page. This is I think the Covent Garden page. And you would say, OK, I want to have a fragrance profiling. And fragrance profiling is something that Penhaligon's did historically, and each store managed it with a diary. So a user or a customer would come in and say, I want to have my fragrance profiled, I want to have a personalised shopping service, basically. But this has automated the process and enabled people to actually do it online. So the user arrives, they choose their venue, they choose their date, and they're then given the options in terms of what times are available. So it's a calendar. The user makes the appointment. What happens then is they're sent an email that automatically confirms the appointment, and if the appointment's made more than 24 hours ahead, they're also sent an SMS reminder 24 hours beforehand to give that push to make sure attendance records are high.